how close a lot of these teams are in skill level when it takes 3 games to really decide who the better one is. A lot can happen in these games. Something bad happens early and it can just turn the game right around for you. And here we have a lot of posturing by both teams right from the get-go. Looks like they're both going fairly defensive openings though.
Yeah, Orbit setting up around all the jungle, saying a couple of pings going down, X Special going to back really quickly. Do you think we could potentially see another swap from TSM?
We could. Darius is actually not a good laner against anything ranged, so if they put Corki and Soraka up there against him, which is what they're looking to plan to do, Orbit would need to just counter swap and go back and forth because Darius has very little to do against 2 members. He needs to be that bully 1v1 trade because he's not going to do well against Corki, and man, it looks like they might already be reactively swapping, or he's just going back for a 4th health potion.
And it looks like Odd One's just going to start normally on his wolves going into the blue, and it looks like Yuzuki's gonna be going into that top lane, so he could be walking right into that 1v2 trap that TSM has set.
He is walking right into a trap. This is a smart play by Team Solomid. They're going to shut down Darius right from the get-go at this point, and he'll need a gank to turn something around almost immediately, or he's going to be in a lot of trouble because you can't farm against double range with Darius very well at all, and this is smart. If he hits 1 creep, that means his lane's going to push, and there it is, so he's now going to potentially get denied for quite some time.
Ouch, but a big chunk going down from Yuzuki onto Chaos. He is able to, he does have a little bit of range himself, however, that poke from the KX Soraka, KX X Special, Corki Soraka lane is definitely going to pay dividends, but ouch, he is already to 50% health. That Darius is hitting hard.
This is really clever though, because he got baited into harassing and pushing the wave. Whenever he wants to harass with his Q, he will hit minions. So now the fact he hit enough minions to harass KX while X Special was there, he might have thought it was a 1v1 of some sorts because now his lane is pushing and he's going to get denied at level 1 for quite a while. Well, level 2 at quite a while. He still can't get creeps.
He does, but High is coming in to try and make something happen. He does have that
double buff,
and it looks
he
like
made it into that brush.
Yeah, High was able to sneak in, so let's see if Chaos and X Special are going to see this coming. Yuzuki sitting in the brush as well. I wonder how they're going to be initiating. Maybe oh, what a fantastic ward from X Special, denying that. High walks away a little bit dejected.
I feel like Yuzuki could have played that better. He was waiting in the brush as well, so X Special wanted to know how they could deny him more creep, so he placed a ward in there. If he just would have stayed in the lane, I think they could have waited for him to get aggressive and then jumped in on him. Meanwhile, we have this bottom lane going, and Darius is getting fairly denied as well. Only 6 minions to Darius' 4, so even though they're doing so much work against Darius isn't ending up much better.
And High is going top lane, trying to make something happen, but KX is just going to be able to Valkyrie out. Corki's so mobile, so difficult to gank.
It's really true. When you have a 2v1 lane, it's extremely hard to gank that lane unless you send kind of overwhelming force. So while they had just the Shyvana and the Darius up there, since they were not able to counter gank off some aggression, it was just kind of a failed attempt. And he ended up spending a lot of time up there for not much gain.
And it looks like these lanes are just starting to settle in. Dyrus is going back. He only has 10 minion kills, so I wonder what he's going to be picking up. Looking at mid lane, Zillion 17 minion kills, Reginald's 25, so Reginald's starting to pull ahead a little bit. Karth is such a good farmer. And top lane, Darius, pretty denied. He's under his tower, 9 minion kills to Chaos's 25. Looking at the 80 cares, ooh, what a great grab going in. He drops him pretty low, and it looks like High is really trying to camp this top lane.
Yeah, and they're trying to send a bunch of force up there, but that's the thing. It's so well warded up by X Special. They have the river and the brush warded that he's just a little bit messed up. The good thing about this, though, is they have put so much attention on them, so even though Orb is running through wards, as we see First Blood coming down bottom, good gank by Odd One.
Odd One trying to chase down Yen. He does miss the slow. Dyrus will try to turn around. There's the snare going down, but forcing the cleanse from Yen. Yen's going to get out of there. Great First Blood from Odd One, being able to jump onto that Sona. 1-0 TSM, 5 minutes in.
And that was just what Orbit could not execute in the top lane, TSM did in the bottom lane. They waited until Sona and Draven got aggressive, used their in, and then Maokai came in right from behind and was able to pick up the clean kill. So advantage TSM thus far.
Bottom lane, looking at that, Dyrus is continuing to farm, try to make up that deficit. He is ahead of Darius only by 2 or so. Looking at Yuzuki's minion kills and Chaos and X Special, that top lane is warded so well, and they're just going to continue to poke him down. He is less than 50%. Who do you think First Tower is going to be going to in this match?
I'm feeling like TSM is going to push this actually fairly hard, fairly soon. Once Chaos is up to kind of the level 6 range and gets some items, they're comfortable doing that fast push strategy that they had last game. It's just the fact that Orbit's putting so much attention to this top lane, they might be just trying to protect this tower. Because if I was Orbit, I'd actually be wanting that lane to end, and Darius wants to be able to get some farm because he is not getting anything sitting under that tower.
And Hai actually covering that tower allowed Odd1 to steal his Wraith, so TSM really punishing the amount of attention that Hai is getting, and there's a little bit of farm being denied from Nubby Pooh Bear. Lemon Nation gonna back real quick as Nian freezes the lane bottom. He's at 40 minion kills, 2 Chaos is 49, so pretty even in that bottom lane, or between those two AD carries, because the bottom lanes are a little bit flip-flopped. Mid lane, Zillion 31 minion kills to Reginald's 56. Reginald really starting to run away with that lane.
Reginald always farms amazingly on Karthus, and I'm surprised he's able to do that up against Zillion, who's only at 33 and then gets that Chalice of Harmony. So mid lane definitely going to Darius in the, Reginald. In this bottom lane though, Nyan getting his farm off, Darius farming mediocrely well. Mainly that kill is what's allowing him to get that GP10. So he has the Philosopher's Stone and he will be getting a lot of gold as some pings go down. The big thing with this game though, Maokai got early boots mobility, and he's going to try to be everywhere.
Yeah, he is certainly motoring around this map. Looking at Yuzuki, he actually picked up a Doran's Blade instead of a gold generation item. He is only at 20 minion kills as Odd1 gives Reggie that blue buff. So the blue buff plus the Chalice of the Catalyst on Reggie is going to allow him to stay in that mid lane for a while.
Yeah, well, there's a few schools of thought on whether you should get gold per 10 items when you're already behind. When you get a gold per 10 item, it sets you a little bit behind. So instinct is to not get it, because if you're already behind, you don't want to fall farther behind. But then the other argument is that since you're not getting farm and since you're not able to get farm, you may as well just take the hit anyway and make sure you get gold for later. Yuzuki obviously going for the Doran's Blade. He wouldn't have even had enough to get the GP10 item in the first place, and now they might try to pull some aggression here. They put up Sona to try to support him and left another 1v1 lane versus Bruiser AD bottom. This did not work out for them very well last game. I'm surprised to see them try it again.
Certainly top lane, I believe last game. Wow, Darius with that true damage. Onion, you mentioned that Draven does not do well when he has someone really sort of up in his grill. He doesn't have the natural escapes, and Orbit did not have that much luck with the Sona Darius. However, potentially could see something with Darius. He has the potential to snowball, so it's really interesting to see Reginald being super aggressive mid lane, trying to shove it down, and maybe a little bit of roaming action from the Reginald Karthus.
Yeah, Orbit's out of their comfort zone here because these lane swaps have just not worked out for them. They are not very good at dealing with it at this point, or they just are not entirely sure. Nubby Poo are getting the blue buff, of course. So much pressure coming down from TSM, and they're looking to most likely gank this Darius in the top lane. They need to adjust something because that 1v1 lane bottom with Draven against Olaf these are not good lanes for Orbit, and they should not be happy with sitting in them.
That pressure is definitely starting to show. We look at 9 minutes in, TSM 11,400 gold to Orbit's 9,500 gold. TSM did get that first blood, no towers down, and only 1 kill, but TSM already starting to build that gold lead with the farm and with that pressure.
It's just a matter of Team Solo Mid just being happy with their lane matchups, and finally we have Darius going bottom to hopefully match up against Olaf, and they are sending Draven top, so that is a good move by Orbit. They need to start at least evening out the lane so they can start to come back, because right now they had been in a downward spiral.
In the bottom lane, looking at the Darius versus Olaf, Darius actually starting to fall behind a little bit because Olaf did get that first blood. He's at 49 minion kills, Darius only at 36. He does have those double Dorans, so potentially able to convert something.
Are they just looking to dive?
They may just go for the dive. There's Darius.
Shyvana is here as well, though.
The Ghost is popped. There's the Maokai ultimate, and the Reginald, he is ignited as well. Oh, but Darius will be able to get out of there with a sliver of health. Are you kidding me? No. The mage minions.
The very last bleed stack actually was able to kill him. The bleed stacks from Darius stick around for quite some time, and a failed tower dive there. Good, lucky positioning by Hai there, or just smart play. He knew something was up bottom, and they need to protect that Darius. So that's what they need to start coming back. Getting the kill onto Darius should help him very, very much, as long as they can keep him laning against Olaf.
Definitely, but top lane again starting to fall behind, may be able to make something happen. The Ignite going down to try and force him off, and X Special doing his best to keep Chaos as healthy as he can. Nian starting to close the lead a little bit. Actually, before that exchange, he was about 10 minion kills down, and he swiftly closed that gap.
Really quick gap closing there. I don't know how he got those many minion kills while he was already down. They might be winning this lane fairly aggressively, though they do have a level advantage. Because Nine had so much solo experience from bottom, he does have a bit of an advantage in this lane, but there's the Boots Mobility gank from Odd One coming in, just pushing him back.
Yeah, the Cleanse going down, Lemonation forcing an ultimate. They could turn this around. Wow, what a great turnaround. Lemonation picking up the kill against the Odd One.
Yeah, that was a lot of damage by Draven. Holy crap.
Yeah.
He had the spinning axe charged up, and that just shows how much damage Draven can do if he's going to sit back and just punch you. Orbit knew exactly how much damage he did because that was a very aggressive Sona ult by Lemon Nation. They had a free escape if they wanted it. They wanted to turn that 2v3 into kills, and they knew they could. So that was really good by Orbit there.
Unfortunately, TSM still a little bit ahead, or unfortunately for Orbit Gaming, I can say. However, a little bit of fortune going there where they are going to pick up the first dragon at about the 12-minute mark. And however, Chaos and X Special trying to respond with this top tower. It looks like they're going to get it.
This is just trying to get a tower to make up for the global goal of the dragon being down, but I have to give tons of credit to Orbit here. They were in a bit of a downward spiral, and they have turned that completely around.
Oh, wow.
Good ult by Darius to stop the Yuzuki pull, and just tons of action now breaking out. This game is on.
There is Reginald trying to take a Nubby Pooh Bear. There's the exhaust. He is on top of him. Will he be able to kill him? There's the Zillion ultimate. Reginald being forced to flash out. Once again, that aggressive
Does he have Requiem up?
He does not,
I think it's still on cooldown.
Yeah, actually,
he used it in the bottom lane gank.
I believe it just came up, actually. And there he goes trying to get it, but he will be a couple of seconds too late. Unfortunate there. Oh, wow. Yuzuki putting a lot of pain down onto Dyrus. High chasing him down with that aura. Will he be able to get it? He goes for the ultimate, and he will pick him up. High is so scary on that Shyvana, and Orbit really trying to turn this game around and being quite successful.
The Shyvana presence really coming into affect the game here. Those both ganks have been kind of turned around really close fights with Darius' Olaf, and it's resulted in a couple of kills for them. So High and Yuzuki having really good synergy in the bottom lane there. Darius getting back in the game despite such a poor catastrophic start in that 2v1. Great play by Orbit coming back on TSM, who previously was very good at closing them out last game.
Yeah, but TSM still ahead. Look at this mid lane. Nubby Pooh Bear has 86 minion kills. He's got his Catalyst. He's got his Chalice. But Reginald has 154. He is farming so hard and pushing Zillion out of lane where you would expect Zillion to be pushing him out of lane.
And that's the big thing about Reginald's Karthus. When they combo it with something like Odd One's Maokai, he takes Wraith camps and Wolf camps as well as mid lane, which is one of the reasons his minions are so high right now. He's going to be hitting 250 or 300 CS pretty damn fast. He has that Rod of Ages. This is how Reginald plays Karthus. He just farms all day. This is how any good Karthus player plays Karthus, quite honestly. But it's just really shutting down Nubby Pooh Bear there. Nubby Pooh Bear probably wants to start roaming around or getting ganks onto Reginald, because letting him free farm like that is not going to be good in the long term.
Top lane, Odd One using his ultimate to push Yuzuki and Lemonation out of that fight. Nubby Pooh Bear picking up the blue. Odd One on Maokai is so strong, being able to just negate so much of that damage. He has those boots of mobility, he has the 2 gold per 10 items, and he just picked up an Oracle's Elixir. So I feel that that is going to help TSM continue to build their lead, because they are still far ahead, and we could potentially see a tower dive.
Yeah, and they've gone and done it again. They have Darius in the top lane, but they're going to try to dive onto him. They're just going to kind of walk away, and they still have flashes, so they're most likely going to be able to sneak this.
High diving in, going for the dive, trying to take Chaos out, but an exhaust going down. High is ulted, so he will it pop? No, it won't. He will.
Oh, nice.
No, so unfortunate for High. X Special taking him out with the last tick. Dyrus coming in to try and finish something off, but he gets ignited, going out there almost immediately. Will he go back in? No, he will not. A really awkward fight for both teams.
Yeah, and this is just continuing on. TSM coming in for cleanups. Reginald was behind them. This is just, they went and did it again. They put Darius in the top lane with Draven in the bottom, while he has been able to split push fairly well. they should not have Darius Sona matched up against Corki Soraka. They need a ranged with a support, otherwise it does not work out very well for the Darius. They could not convert that gank, and they are in a big trouble as this fight continues.
Speaking of trouble,
All the way
Reginald,
across the map.
oh yeah, heading bot lane, Nubby Pooh Bear popping his speed boost, so he's going to be able to get out of there in a hurry. Something we didn't touch on is that Nien was pushing bottom lane, and he is going to get caught by Reginald. There's the wall of pain. Wow, so much damage going out from that slow, and Chaos is going to pick him up. Will they be able to take out Nubby Pooh Bear as well? Yes, they will. Not quite yet, though, because there's his ultimate. Snare going down from Odd One, waiting. Fantastic discipline. Exhaust going down onto high. That's a double kill for the Odd One, and they're going to potentially continue this dive. No, looks like they're just going to back out. That was an incredible snowbally fight from TSM, just catching Orbit out of position.
Nice quick turnaround there. Draven pushed a little bit too far. He got a little ahead of himself, and they were able to close in with Reginald. Then Zillion tried to get involved with the save. Just unfortunate timing for Orbit and good conversion by TSM. So now 16 minutes in, TSM looking fairly strong. Still quite a close game, though, because they were ahead by this far in the past, and then were able to turn things around. So the power of their Darius-Shyvana gank synergy hopefully comes back a little bit, as now they have, please tell me they have Draven and Sona together. Yes, they do. So let's see it go.
We were saying Darius Sona, maybe not the best choice in this exchange. Looking at what TSM has been able to pick up after that exchange, Reginald has his needlessly large rod, so he's going to be hitting pretty hard with those lay wastes. Soraka getting a little bit of magic resist. Corki picking up. He does have that Phage and that Zeal, and he did just get a Vampiric Scepter. However, Maokai, 2, 1, and 3, 70 minion kills. Odd One is doing quite well in that matchup.
The Boots mobility rush really paying off, because after he got them, he was able to translate more kills and assist, which let him get his gold generation items right away, as well as getting his team fed. So when you go for those early Boots mobility, it's really, really important that you get the early kills, which is Odd One has been able to convert, and that's one of the reasons TSM is winning this game.
And a couple pings going down onto Draven. TSM all roaming bottom. Looks like they're going to try and pick up this bottom turret. A little bit of ward clearing going on from Odd One with that Oracle's Elixir. He has so much map control right now. Looking at all the TSM wards as compared to the Orbit wards, TSM really in control. Speaking of Orbit wards, there's another one up the Tri-Brush.
TSM picking up this Dragon pretty much uncontested, though they're now grouping around with that Oracle as they want to engage a fight, because they're pretty sure they're stronger at this point. And Orbit on their heels once again. They do have an Oracles as well, so they're going to be trying to clear these wards. And it's now just about TSM finding ways to capitalize on their advantage, because if they can't force team fights, then the advantage is just going to get smaller and smaller.
It looks like TSM is roaming around a little bit. Chaos sitting in that bush, maybe looking for an exchange against Nien. Nien's just going to push the lane and back out, and Chaos is going to Valkyrie through the wall and take that farm. He is 152 minion kills, 2 Ravens, 176. Draven has actually pulled ahead in minion kills with that split pushing bottom lane. Reginald, on the other hand, already at 200 farm. We're not even 20 minutes in to Nubby Pooh Bear, who is almost 100 minion kills behind Reginald.
Yeah, and when I look at this, Team Solomid should actually be fairly content taking this game as late as possible, just with how well Reginald's farming, with how difficult it is to play Draven in late game teamfights for Orbit, and with how strong the damage reduction auras are late game with Maokai. TSM's really content just farming at this point. If Orbit wants to force something, TSM can try to turn it around, but TSM doesn't actually need to do much at this point in order to win.
Reginald taking a Q and farming like a boss. 19 minutes in, and Odd One getting caught out of position a little bit. The time bomb is on high, but Odd One will force him to back up before he's able to hit it. There's the Requiem, and Reginald's actually able to snipe
nice.
Nien. Chaos was in that 1v1. It looks like he was able to engage him, and Chaos is just going to continue to get stronger and stronger with each of those exchanges. Almost 20 minutes in, TSM about 6,000 golds ahead. 6,000 gold ahead, 8 kills to 3, 2 towers each. Game 3 of this first match. Dyrus getting hooked. Yuzuki potentially able to take him out. He does get exhausted, but he does have the ultimate negating it, and Haj's just going to walk out. Dyrus giving him a little bit of a love tap, dropping him about 60%, and as a result of that exchange, Chaos is going to take this bottom tower.
So they did burn the Karth Assault in order to get that 9 kill. The thing with that is it's now down for a little while. If Orb wants to make a move, they should do it now while the Karth Assault is down. Unfortunately, they burned a couple No, they'll get their ultimates back up before the next team fight. They should just be able to make some kind of aggressive play, because if they don't, they're just going to allow TSM to take this game later and later. This is really their moment to strike here while the Karthus ult is down. I want to see if they try to convert something.
It looked like they were trying to convert something in that top jungle, but unfortunately No Dice and Chaos made him pay for it with that bottom tower. He now has his Trinity Force, so we could also see an engage from TSM, especially with that extremely fed Corki Reginald picking off the Wraiths. He really loves to steal the enemy team's Wraiths.
He's been doing it all game, too. Look at his minion kills, 231 to 117 from Zilean. So that Zilean-Karthus matchup completely in the favor of Reginald. And Team Solomid putting on the pressure at this point. They have 3 towers to Orbit's 2, and they're just pushing around the map. You know, Orbit not trying to make any moves here while Reginald's ult is down, and it's just going to come right back up again, and then Orbit's not going to be able to make moves. And that's, TSM's okay with that.
Definitely. Taking a look at the items really quick, Hai was actually able to pick up the Aegis, but TSM going for 2 Aegises with Soraka and Maokai, so they are looking for those team auras, and Dyrus has the Shurelya's, so he's going to have that cooldown reduction as well as that ability to initiate with the Ghost, the Shurelya's, and his ultimate. He's just going to dive into the fight.
And that's what they need to do, because Draven gets a ton of damage if no one's on him and if he's able to freely jump around and catch his axes, but as soon as you put a threat on top of him, he struggles immensely. And that's what Dyrus is going to be. He's going to present a threat to Draven and then just try to crush it off with the rest of the fight.
Oh, and Dyrus being forced to pop his ultimate. 3-man gank coming top, trying to take him out, but to no avail. I think they're going to continue on to try and take out this tower. Chaos and Odd One are in hot pursuit. 4 members of Orbit. Great grab by Yuzuki, but looks like he's not going to be able to turn anything around. Odd One could potentially land a snare, but all 5 members of Orbit are there. Reginald swiftly approaching, so we could see a potential engage in this top jungle.
They're moving around here. They're going to walk right into ward, and Team Solomid actually backing away a little bit. They're going to try to bait and engage here because they have all 5, and this is going to be good for TSM.
Yeah, and there's a flash going in onto Reginald. He's on top of 3 members, jumping right onto Nyan. Nyan is extremely low. Odd One being able to take out Draven, and Corki able to take out Darius. Reginald is so low. Will he be able to take Lemon Nation out? Yes, he will. That is a double kill.
Clean ace.
For Reginald.
Wow.
Incredible play from TSM.
Oh man, that was such a good bait by Team Solomid there. They actually knew they had the advantage from the get-go, but they waited until they could bait an entire engage from Orbit so they could counter-initiate, and they just completely caught them off guard by having all 5 members in the jungle there ready to fight while Orbit's cooldowns were down. They got the clean ace, and now they're just taking a Baron. This is huge for Team Solomid.
TSM extremely low, but able to take out the Baron with little trouble. 23 minutes in, first Baron. TSM has on almost 10,000 gold lead, 13 kills to 3, 3 towers to 2. We could definitely see that tower number rise in the near future.
They just completed another aura item.
Wow. Reginald actually just
through.
dodged the spinning axe by Nyan. Nyan was almost able to snipe him. He's been so close with those spinning axes, but not quite hitting the mark.
Taking a look at Team Solomid's items, they're all about the auras right now. The double Aegis aura, like we've seen in the past 2 games, and they just completed the Zeke's Herald on Olaf. So really, really powerful team fighting to go on top of their Baron buff and their huge gold advantage. They want to force really hard here upcoming. They want to probably push down mid. I don't know if they have the big split push potential here, but they should just be shoving and taking advantage of this Baron buff and their item advantage.
TSM definitely looking to take it to Orbit. They are so far ahead that really any engage that is not absolutely perfect for Orbit is going to end badly and potentially end the game. TSM picking up another dragon and just extending this lead. Does not look good for Orbit game.
They're just taking whatever they want at this point now. 12,000 gold advantage. They still have the big items. Orbit's trying to catch up and farm, but this is somewhat the same thing that happened last game. The game accelerates to a point where they don't have the ability to farm and get their items anymore. And while they do have the Infinity Edge on Draven, you know, the Rod of Ages on Zilean, it's not even close to the tier of items that TSM has. And it's just, no one's been able to complete their builds on Orbit, and this is just a push straight down middle by Team Solomid.
TSM able to take down that middle tower. They're going to be sieging this turret. We actually saw game 2, an unbelievable siege by TSM. They are incredibly good at pushing these towers down. Xpecial actually healing that minion to keep it alive for a split second longer so Kax will be able to get a little bit of extra harass, and it's those little details that make TSM such a force to be reckoned with.
They're just poking down really hard once again. The Corki missiles are flying through. Playways coming from everywhere. That tower is getting super, super low. I'm thinking Team Solo Mid wouldn't be unwise to dive this, but the smart play would be to get the 2 outer towers. They're a very aggressive team, though, and I wouldn't be surprised because of how much they're hanging around if they look to dive or take the tower on this wave.
It could be an odd one using his ultimate to allow them to have that damage mitigation and take the tower. I think that below half Nian actually just burned his ultimate to take some of pressure off of top lane, so he's not going to have that in the fight. There's the Reginald ultimate. We could potentially see a dive going in. No, it looks like he's just going to use it to force them to back
scare
out.
them off all. We see a bit of that, though, is to kind of bait and engage and make Orb realize that if they did fight on that inhibitor, that they were going to lose the fight anyway, so it just forced the tower kill. Now that they have that free inhibitor down, this is when they rotate around to take the rest of the towers because they still have the Baron buff and a free blue steal as well.
TSM, as you said, taking whatever they want, including Team Orbit's blue buff. Odd one pushing down that top lane, quickly joined by Dyrus Reginald, X Special with Chaos, bringing up the rear. TSM, well, we could potentially see an engage under this tower as well. Odd one dropping his ultimate once again for that damage mitigation. I would love to see an Odd one initiate at this point. And
Orb sticking around, and there it is. This looks big.
There's the Shirelia's high dropping, almost immediate elimination, dropping his ultimate to try and get them out of there. And Chaos is on a killing spree. He is doing so well in this game. 3-0-6, 208 minion kills, Triforce, BF Sword, Vampiric Scepter, and TSM doing what they do best.
Looks like Chaos is going for that Bloodthirster build once again as they siege relentlessly on top of Orb, and they're looking for another fight here. Reginald on top of the tower with his Defile on.
Yeah, he had to get exhausted, and it looks like Chaos jumping in to try and take Nian down. Nian is ulted. He's forced to flash out. Lemonation dropping so low, going back to the fountain to heal, but TSM is going to take down this top inhibitor. 2 inhibitors down, and the situation looks grim.
Once you have 2 inhibitors down, it's really, really hard to come back from a game, especially when you have 2 inhibitors down and this big of a gold disadvantage. Team Solo Mid now, they have huge amounts of gold in the bank. If we just check really quickly, they're going to have thousands of gold each, and they're going to be able to complete these big items. 3.6k gold on Maokai. He was tower diving before he bought items. Now that he has 4,000 gold more items, it's going to be no problem for them to take down those bottom turrets, especially when you have the 2 inhibitors down. You need a guy back to just save your Nexus turrets. TSM is going to walk bottom and just clean up.
Yeah, taking a look at that gold once more, looking at Corki's gold, he is at 10,000 gold to Draven's 8,000 gold. And when that AD carry is that large, it's going to be really difficult for Orbit to, especially an AD carry that mobile, it's going to be pretty scary. Taking a look at the items really quick, looks like Dyrus picking up the Warden's Mail. He is going full aura items. He's got the Shirelius, he's got the Zeke's Herald. He grabbed a Phage as well, so we could potentially see a Frozen Mallet if this game goes on any longer. Reginald, on the other hand, grabbing a Will the Ancient, so he's been effectively flashing into the middle of the enemy team every single time, and it's great because they actually are burning their exhausts on him to prevent him from going after the team. They actually had to burn an exhaust to take Lemon Nation out. And speaking of Lemon Nation, him and Yuzuki hiding in the bottom brush with Nubby. Pooh Bear maybe trying to catch TSM out of position, but I really don't see Orb.
Yeah, TSM's got this mostly in the bag. So many aura items. Frozen Heart, Will the Ancients, Double Aegis, Zeke's Herald. The only thing they're really missing are Abyssal Scepter and Soul Shroud. Double Reverie as well for initiation. They're just taking these towers because they can. There's not much Orbit's going to be able to do about it. I like the way TSM's came back from the initial play, but I still have to hand it to Orbit for sticking with them for all 3 games.
Orbit has done a fantastic job, and all credit to them. I would not be surprised if they had an immense amount of success if they are to lose this game going into the loser bracket. High going to try and make something happen. Shirley is going down. Exhaust on Chaos. High is low. He drops, but he does have the ultimate. Reginald, on the other end, is going to drop as well. There's the shutdown onto Darius, but Chaos takes Elimination out. The ultimate getting a double kill. Wow, incredible play from TSM. Great dive, and they're going to push straight into this Nexus.
That was just the conclusion of a game full of attrition for TSM there. Really strong play. I think Orbit's going to do a pretty good job in the losers bracket, though, because having TSM as the #1 seed there and getting matched up against them right away is a pretty bad draw. The fact that they took that first game off of them so well tells me that they're quite strong.
That momentum will really carry them through going into this draw. But congratulations, TSM. 2-1 in this first round, and I believe they're going to be